The president is on a three-day official visit to Cuba, strengthening over half a century-old friendship. People emphasize the importance of a wide national program for the prevention of dengue. A threat of cultivable lands getting destroyed due to drought looms in the Mahavali H area. The second stage of the district reforms program of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party has commenced. People in Greece go to polls tomorrow.
Let's take a look at the news in detail now. President Mahinda Rajapaksa has commenced a three-day official visit to Cuba, strengthening 53 years of relationship. Bilateral talks between the president and his Cuban counterpart, Raul Castro, will be held tomorrow. President Mahinda Rajapaksa and his delegation reached the Cuban capital, Havana, at 11:45 p.m. Sri Lanka time yesterday. The president was warmly welcomed by the Deputy Foreign Minister of Cuba, Mrs. Ana Teresita Gonzalez Fraga. The Cuban ambassador in Sri Lanka, Nercia Castro Aguilera, the acting Sri Lankan ambassador in Cuba, Varuna Vilpata, and Deputy Ambassador of Sri Lanka in Washington, Asala Virakon, also joined this occasion.
People emphasize the need for a wide national program with the participation of everyone for dengue control. They say that they are prepared to assist such a program at any time. At present, dengue is declared an acute epidemic. The districts of Colombo, Gampaha, Kalutara, Galle, Matara, Puttaram, Kurunegala, Ratnapura, Kagala and Kandy are declared high-threat dengue epidemic zones. 14,600 dengue patients have been identified during the last 6 months and 74 of them have died. The additional secretary to the Ministry of Health, Dr. Palitha Mahipala, says that the main recommendation of the World Health Organization for the control of dengue is to destroy mosquito breeding areas. The additional secretary to the Ministry of Health, Dr. Palitha Mahipala, says that as per recent research, it is found that throwaway containers contribute to more than 50% of mosquito breeding areas. Therefore, the doctor says that they request all to keep the environment clean and tidy. Even if one person or an institution slack in their responsibility, the effect of it affects the whole society, and this has contributed to the reduction of results in the dengue prevention program. This problem is one that affects the whole society, and the government or the health ministry cannot do it single-handedly, as it is a national responsibility on ministries, state and private institutions contribute to this program. People say that if such a program were implemented, they will give their fullest support and cooperation.
Meanwhile, 6 years have been completed for the inhuman bus bomb attack carried out by the Tiger terrorists in Kapitigo Lava, in which 64 people were killed. This was the most crucial attack carried out by the Tiger terrorists on the civilian population after the ceasefire agreement. The concerned bus was flying from Talgasvava to Kapitigo Lava on 15 June 2006. Majority of the passengers were mothers and children going to Kapitigo Lava Hospital. When the bus was reaching the forest area of Vihara Halmil Lava from Halmil Lavatia, the Tiger terrorists targeted the bus by blasting a claymore bomb. 15 children, 2 Buddhist monks, 3 pregnant mothers were among the people killed. At that time, there were more than 150 passengers in the bus. More than 80 persons were injured. The Tiger terrorists have blasted 2 claymore bombs in this incident. One of the bombs struck the bus and it was thrown away for about 50 meters and overturned. The investigations revealed that the claymore bomb was placed in a snake mount. At that time, the president visited the victims who were injured and requested the people not to get agitated by this kind of timid, inhuman attack and support the steps being taken by the government to defeat terrorism. Making this pledge a reality, the president was able to defeat the Tiger terrorists and liberate the country on 19th May 2009. The people's dream of having a free nation has now become a reality.
The second stage of the district reforms program of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party has begun. The reform activities of the Sabaragamuwa and Eastern provinces commenced today. Encouragement for making Sri Lanka a wonder nation of Asia, further strengthening the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, taking the President's message from house to house, and solving people's problems through small pocket meetings are being carried out under this program. The reforms program of the Nivitigala electorate in the Ratnapura district of the Sabaragamuwa province started under the leadership of Minister Piyasena Gamage. Deputy Ministers Rohit Abhigunawardena and Premalal Jayasekara also joined this program. The reforms program of the Rakpan electorate started under the leadership of Minister Jagat Pushpakumara. The program in the Kaigal electorate started under the leadership of the Chief Minister of the Northwestern Province, Atul Vijayasinghe. This program will be carried out tomorrow as well with the participation of several ministers and electoral organizers. The reforms program of the Rambukkun electorate started under the leadership of the Chief Minister of the Sabaragamuwa Province, Mahipala Herath. Minister Mervyn Silva and parliamentarians Kanaka Herath and Shanta Bandara also joined the program. The main meeting of the Siruvilla electorate of the Trincomalee district was held under the participation of Deputy Minister M.K.D.S. Gunawardena in Kantale. Minister S.M. Chandrasena and several others joined this program. The reforms program of the Pattikal electorate was activated under the leadership of Minister Mahindananda Aludgamage, Deputy Minister Vinayagamurthy Muralithiran and several others joined the program. Wait to a short break.
Welcome back. We're still on local news. The water levels in the reservoirs feeding the hydropower stations have fallen considerably. The Electricity Board informed that the water levels of Victoria, Randanigala, Rantambe and Kotmale reservoirs have decreased by 25% yesterday. Last year, the catchment areas of these reservoirs did not get sufficient rainfall. The Electricity Board informed that this year too, these reservoirs did not get sufficient rainfall during the northwest monsoon rain season. 14.8% of Sri Lanka's electricity requirement is covered by hydropower electricity generation. The thermal power production has increased to 85.2%. In 1996, despite the water levels being higher than the present level, power cuts were imposed in Sri Lanka. At that time, the demand for electricity was only one-third of the present demand. At present, the thermal power projects, including Kedavalapitiya and Lakvijaya, provide 750 megawatts of power to the national electric grid. The Ministry of Power and Energy points out that it is because of expeditious construction of these projects, the Electricity Board has been able to supply power continuously without any power cuts. However, the cost of production of power through thermal power projects is very high and requires the people to use power economically.
There is a danger of cultivations in 25,000 acres in the Mahaveli H zone being destroyed due to the severe drought currently experienced in the Kalaweva area. The Mahaveli authority says the water level of Kalaweva has decreased to 10,000 acre-feet. The water levels of Kalaweva has fallen to a level that it cannot release water through the south and left sluice gates. Due to this, there is a danger of paddy lands and additional crops cultivated in certain areas getting destroyed. Several areas that gets water from the Kandalama reservoir are also threatened with destruction due to lack of water. It is nearly 40 kilometers to these areas from the reservoirs. According to the Mahaveli authority, to supply water to this area, the reservoir should have at least 45,000 acre-feet of water. Farmers complain that unwanted activities by certain people have also contributed to the reduction in the water level. Due to the prevailing drought, the threat from wild elephants to several villages around Kalaweva has also increased. The people of Balaluweva, Pubbogama, Horapula, Olumbeva and several other villages are facing wild elephant threats. The farmers complain that this unsystematic construction of electric fences have contributed to elephants invading the villages. They say that although they have made several requests to erect the fences properly, this has not been carried out as yet.
Meanwhile, Secretary to the Ministry of Defence and Urban Development Gotabaya Rajapaksa inspected the 7 housing complexes being built in Colombo today. These housing complexes are being built in Lumundol, Dematagoda, Kolonava, Wanathamulla, Boralla, Henemulla and Maligawatha for the low-income families in Colombo. 10,000 families are to be housed in these housing complexes. The Defence Secretary inspected the Cyril C. Pereira Mavda housing complex in Blumendal Road. Construction work of this housing complex commenced in January this year. It has 366 housing units and the cost of the project is 915 million rupees. The Urban Development Authority is in charge of constructions and the project will be completed within 2.5 years.
Welcome back. The United National Party has decided to call for explanation from the parliamentarians of the party who are involved in doing politics with defeated politicians. The party sources say that explanations will be called from the parliamentarians Palitha Rangibandara and Palitha Thivarapperuma. This decision has been taken upon complaints made by certain senior members of the party to the party leadership. The party seniors say that by going after leaders of other parties, the constitution of the UNP gets violated. They also point out that it also contributes to misleading the party members. The approval of the party should be obtained to indulge in politics with an external political party or a leader. A senior member of the United National Party told National Rupavahini that such permission had not been granted either to Palitha Rangibandara or Palitha Thivarapperuma. It is also alleged that Palitha Thivarapperuma had attended a media conference held by a leader of another political party. The senior member pointed out that they will emphasize the necessity of holding investigations into this matter and said that members violating the constitution should be expelled from the electoral organization and other posts.
The Sri Lankan High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Chris Noni, says the diaspora and international community help is needed to speed up the transition of Sri Lanka to a developed nation. He said this at the Biennial Scientific Session 2012 held in Colombo recently. It was organized by the Allergy and Immunology Society of Sri Lanka for the 6th time.
And I think we now have a historic opportunity to make that transition from developing to developed nation. So in that context, I think a knowledge-driven economy is indeed an imperative. If you look at our country from a health perspective, I think despite all the challenges and constraints that we have had over the years, it's wonderful that we have such excellent maternal and perinatal morbidity and mortality indicators, certainly the highest in the region.
The Sri Lankan High Commissioner to the United Kingdom further stated that the energetic young generation should be encouraged to be involved in more medical research.
The UN Media Personnel Association is to suspend the membership of news reporter who was involved in reporting against Sri Lanka and support Tiger terrorists. It has been revealed that he has been involved in various fraudulent activities. Allegations have been made against Matthew Lee for false reporting, plagiarizing, defamation of various people, including media personnel, and harassing UN officials. Among the allegations against him include publication of defamatory reports against Sri Lanka's Deputy Permanent Representative for United Nations, General Shavindra Silva, branding him as a war criminal. By maintaining a website under the name of Intercity Press, this person has even illegally entered various functions of the United Nations for fulfilling the needs of people who had made monetary contributions to him. The Asian Tribune website informs that Matthew Lee had secret links with the Tiger terrorist organization. It has also been revealed that in return for publishing false reports about Sri Lanka and for fulfilling the requirements of Tiger terrorists, the Tiger terrorist organization had presented him a house in Canada. The media personnel of United Nations have said that a person like this, who violates all media ethics and betrays the dignity of the profession, should not be allowed to be a member of their organization anymore. We're into foreign news. Welcome back to foreign news. Campaigning in Greece has ended ahead of crucial election on Sunday, which could determine its future in the Eurozone. At a final rally, the head of the Conservative New Democracy Party billed the vote as a choice between keeping the Euro and returning to the drachma. Rebel party Syriza says it wants to stay in the euro but opposes the terms of an international bailout. Unofficial polls have put the two parties neck to neck. Sunday's vote is being watched around the world amid fears that a Greek exit from the euro could spread contagion to other eurozone members and send turmoil throughout the global economy. The election, the second in 6 weeks, was called after a vote on 6 May proved inconclusive, with no party or coalition able to form a government.
We now move on to news in brief. Egyptians have begun voting in a two-day runoff election to choose their first freely elected president. The ruling generals have vowed to hand over power to the winner by 30th June. The Japanese government decides to restart operations at 2 nuclear reactors, the first of the country's reactors to come back online after they were all shut down following the Fukushima crisis. The French gear up to vote in the second round of parliamentary elections, with the far-right National Front Party looking to enter parliament for the first time since 1986. China launches its 4th manned space mission. It sent a crew of 3, including the nation's first female astronaut Liu Yang, to the orbit Tiangong Space Lab. Daredevil Nick Wallander made a historic tightrope crossing over Niagara Falls yesterday night, stepping onto safe ground in Canada to wild cheers after completing his journey through wind and mist on a 5-centimeter cable.
Good evening. Welcome to the sports news with me, Chamindi Samarasekara. In the 4th One-Day International between Pakistan and Sri Lanka, being played at R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo, Sri Lanka, winning the toss, elected to bat and scored 243 runs for 8 wickets in their 50 overs. The Pakistan team is chasing a target of 244 runs. A short while ago, they were 154 runs for the loss of 2 wickets in 35 overs. The first 2 wickets of the Sri Lankan team fell down for low scores. Uppul Taranga scored only 4 and Tilakaratne Dilshan scored only 24 runs. Kumar Sangakkara, playing an excellent innings, scored 97 runs and helped to increase the Sri Lankan score. His 97 runs included 3 sixes and 4 boundaries. Mahala Jayawardene gave a good partnership for Sangakkara and scored 40 runs. The Sangakkara-Mahala partnership built a score of 110 runs. Sohail Tanvir, Sahid Ajmal and Mohammad Hafiz took 2 wickets each.
With sports news, we conclude our night's news bulletin. Together with Zinat and Chamindi, wish you a very pleasant night.
Good night.